These are the survey results about everyday typography. 56% of the respondents look for an appropriate font every time. 22% only sometimes look for a good font. 18% use a few favourites, and 4% don't pay attention to fonts. About a quarter of the respondents don't have favourite fonts. Half of the respondents have favourite fonts, but the rest don't know the names of their favourite fonts. Most favourite fonts are Arial, Times New Roman, Helvetica, Verdana, Calibri, Comic Sans, and the rest of mentioned fonts are Courier New, Tahoma, Baskerville, Palatino, Cambria, Bookman Antica, Frutiger, Candara, Edvardian, Myriad, Accidental Presidency, Avant-Garde, Impress TL, Trebuchet MS, Clavica, Din, Interstate, Times, Orator, Lisa Pro, Gill Sans, Panetch 10, Air Conditioner, Rutaria, Trajan Pro, and FF Meta. When choosing a font, 66% pay attention to the forms of the characters, 56% pay attention to the legibility of the font, and 38% pay attention to the character of the font. Other things that are taken into account when choosing a font: that it doesn't suck and maybe it should have weight variations, ligatures and special characters, natural spacings must feel right at all sizes, etc. Appropriateness and attractiveness. I usually prefer using fonts with serifs. It's easier to read fonts that are not just straight up and down. When writing something informal, I like the characters to be more rounded and similar to handwriting. I think that it makes the font more friendly. That is why one of my favourite fonts is Comic Sans. University rules only allow for Times New Roman. Serifs for body text, sans for labels, blocky, example impact, for headlines. 29% think that Times New Roman is the best overall font. 24% think Calibri. 15% think Garamond. 11% think Helvetica. 9% think Frutiger. 6% think American Typewriter. 4% think Courier. 1% think Didot. And 1% think Comic Sans. 55% like serif fonts better, whilst 45% like sans serif fonts better. This is what people answered to the question, what is Comic Sans good for? Comic strips and speech bubbles, advertisements in newspapers and letters, children's books, recognition of individual letter forms for preschool children, in something eye-catching, short and snappy, like an advertisement card or a small poster. Something personal, as it seems to be a bit like handwritten. A blog. Informal attention getter. I can only see myself using it in an artwork. For posters and newspaper headlines. Something for children and teenagers. Writing on envelopes. For everyday use, like emails. For party. For jokes, greeting cards, presentations, writing to friends, pop art posters, informal communication. Throw it in Mount Doom in Mordor. I'm yet to find a use for this typeface. Nothing serious. 55% of respondents think that Comic Sans used in a light-hearted poster is okay. 47% think that Comic Sans used in a speech bubble is okay. 40% think that Comic Sans used on a do not enter sign is okay. 13% think that Comic Sans used on museum signage is okay. 9% think that Comic Sans used for a first aid kit is okay. And 9% think that Comic Sans isn't good for any of the offered possibilities. 51% of the respondents were male and 49% were female. 35% of the respondents are in some way close to design. Respondents are all aged from 14 to 79. Respondents' nationalities were German, Slovenian, Latvian, British, Dutch, Danish, Czech, Croatian, Belgian and Austrian. %55 of respondents think that Comic Sans use... Oh, sorry, let's start again. 55% of respondents think that Comic Sans use... No, what? Oh, used. It's supposed to be used, isn't it? That's why.
I don't know how to properly
I think,
work it.
I think it is anyway. Sorry, that was mine. Me. 50... Do you want to delete this one? Let's start again. 55% of respondents think that Comic Sans used in a light-hearted poster is okay. Stop laughing. For everyday use, like emails. For e-part. What the fuck is an e-part? Oh, God.
Just continue.
Yeah. Ligatures and special characters. Oh, bollocks. Don't put that in. 1% think that Didot is the best overall font, and 1% think that Tom Tom is the overall font. Whoo!